I'm being threatened with prison right now because I have 5 guys that worked for me for 15 years. And they're telling me I either gotta let them go or face imprisonment.
We're gonna make criminals out of these guys? I said, are you gonna deport them? No, we can't lawfully deport them. They have no idea who these people are at the border.
United States Border Patrol.
Yes, sir.
Just to let you know, these are federal property, so we cannot have you driving over here.
Because right here, you could prosecute us for you.
So I have 5 men here that have proven themselves to be very valuable, productive members of society. I'm being threatened with fines and prison. My name's James Crocker, founder and CEO of Hog Technologies right here in Stuart, Florida. You know, it's said that something like 80% of America either owns a small business or works for a small business. So to all of you out there watching this, I think this message has great implications, potential implications for you. In 1988, I bought a small pressure washer and I started cleaning roofs, houses, pool patios, etc. And from pressure washing to painting to water jetting. And today, we're a leading manufacturer of vehicles. We make just a full line of special vehicles for roadway and runway asphalt concrete maintenance. I have lived the American dream. I've been so blessed. So just with that as the backdrop, you know, I'm gonna take you right here in the 4 walls of this business to a crime scene, and I'm being threatened with fines and prison. Just behind me, working sometimes 12, 14 hours a day as a criminal. Come, I'm gonna show you some more. Here's another one just behind me here. George, been here 13 years. Alfonso in the corner, 14 years. 5, what I have come to learn, are actually illegal aliens here between 11 and 14 years. But I've just been informed just a few weeks ago that I have until April 15th to release 5 incredibly valuable, very important, loyal, faithful members of this team here at Hog. I'm gonna go to prison unless I release this man. Just learned that they were illegal, but wait, it gets so much better than that, so much better. And I have the papers. I'm gonna show you just how this went down. So I'm gonna explain the chronological order of paperwork that's just going to blow you away. Before I go through this with you, I want to take you to another crime scene that I think is extremely interesting. And as a small business owner or a team member on a small business, I think you'll find this crime scene even more interesting. I see the border right here, so off we go. I promised you that I was going to take you to a second crime scene. And sure enough, I just went and jumped on a plane, came down to McAllen, Texas, and drove south, just a 10 or 15 minute drive. I just pulled up to this random border, and there's the wall, and there's a gate, and it looks like you could just like drive on through. There's a border patrol sitting there. I guess maybe if I did, he would talk to me. But look at that short little fence right there. I mean, how easy would it be to pull up and just, you know, kind of hop across that fence? I was really shocked at how easy it was to find an incident. Evidently, what we're seeing here behind us is happening all along the border. Sometimes I think when we think about these border crossings, we're thinking that people are crossing in the dead of night, smugglers are sneaking them through tunnels, or you know, in the backs of semi-trucks and this type of thing. But that's not at all the case. If you look behind me here, just in the 20-30 minutes we've been here, there's at least 15-20 people and we saw a bus come by, but I just think about how disruptive to have this kind of policy where there is an open border, because these ICE agents are turning nobody away. Basically, when I call it a crime scene, it's illegal to enter the U.S. without a passport, without proper documentation, and these people don't have that. They're met with what is essentially a welcoming committee of paid U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents who are likely going to transport them to a place where they get 3 meals a day and get tested for COVID and some medical attention. And I just think, you know, you parallel that with what I just explained that I'm facing, that they are willingly letting these people in and then hiring a plethora, an army of ICE agents and Customs and Border Patrol people to then go hunt these people down and essentially ensure that they don't work. And then they're going to, you know, threaten, not even threaten, essentially promise me fines and prison time if I don't release 5 of these men that have been with me between 11 and 14 years. I was informed literally a month ago that these men had questionable paperwork, and you know, it's not them facing deportation or facing anything really, it's other than the loss of a job. I just think the whole thing is really illogical, and I think it's also just worth mentioning that in 2010, the government implemented E-Verify, and we adopted that immediately. So since 2010, we haven't hired anybody of questionable nature because the government fixed their deficient system. In 2012, we got a unannounced ICE inspection, and were found to, there was these same 5 men were found to be in question. We were subsequently, you can see in this letter right here, we supplied additional information, and ICE issued us a letter for each of these men saying that we were found to be in adjusted compliance. And yet now, 9 years later, you know, I'm being told that I've got 4 days to release these 5 guys. They are key guys. They show up early, they work late, they work on the weekends if needed, wherever, whenever, whatever, you know, they're always there. And it's a little difficult right now being a member of a society in which, you know, here the government is helping folks break the law to be facing fines and arrest. I don't think that's the right way. So, you know, I just want to admit that I have a lot of internal conflict about this issue, because on one hand, I am pro law enforcement, I'm pro border. You know, I was one of those people saying, build that wall, and I believe in the wall. You know, and I also understand that these men and women with ICE are doing their job, right? And they're good men and women. And it's up to our politicians to create the laws and the sensible, consistent, enforceable, equally enforced across the board laws. And I think what I struggle with is the insanity, the utter insanity of allowing people to stream across the border by the thousands and then employing a whole nother workforce, ICE, to go and find these people. And then you find 5 entrenched in a business where now, after so many years, you know, we have dependencies on these people. And just to, you know, in a moment, there's no kind of process or sensible timeline, just in the snap of a finger, take the same 5 people that you told me, ICE told me 9 years ago that these 5 individuals were okay to work. I have the paperwork. You see it here, and now in a moment just rip them out of this business and leave a big gaping hole in, you know, in this company. And it's not all about me. You know, we have 160 team members here that have dependencies on each other and the integrity of the organization as a whole. And I just think it's ridiculous. So I think timing is another just curious factor here. When you have all of the pressures facing small business that are not unique to us, but we buy a lot of steel. I have in front of me a graph that just shows what the price of steel has done since September. September, it was $417, and now it's almost $1,200. The price of steel has tripled since September. The price of diesel fuel has risen dramatically. The price of raw materials in general have risen dramatically. We've had well over 40 people test positive for COVID here and be required, of course, to take the 2 weeks of quarantine, 10 days now. But, you take these random people and you take them out of the organization just at random, unplanned times for 10 to 14 days at a time. It's wreaked havoc. It's been a tremendous financial burden to the organization. Hiring shortages. I mean, my gosh, you just drive a few blocks from here and you see, I did it just to show you, how many people are trying to find people. And why are there hiring shortages? Well, my gosh, you have the government, extending unemployment benefits long past the normal times. And then on top of that, paying them an additional $600, or then now it's $300 a week. I mean, people can make more money staying at home than they can actually coming to work. On top of that, we went from doing 22 trade shows a year. We've not done a single trade show now in over 14 months. And you look at the negative downward pressure that has on sales. 40% of our sales are overseas. None of our overseas customers have been able to come here. Even though we live in the great state of Florida and we have an incredible governor and who has kept things open here, the problem is things aren't open back home. So even if they come here, then when they go back home, they're subjected to 2 weeks of quarantine, and folks just don't want to do it. So all of these things have just made for incredible challenges to small business, and then to face losing these 5 guys at this time just seems overwhelming. I think a really big component that has always made America great is the involvement of our citizenry in the voting process, in the political arena, in the community, just speaking out. And even on this issue, on many issues these days, I mean, unless you have one specific point of view, you're not even allowed to speak out. I mean, any speaking out is considered bigotry, hatred, racism. And, but I believe that if this country is going to remain a superpower, if this country is going to remain a haven where people from all over the world want to come, I think we've got to become outspoken, involved leaders within our homes, within our communities, within our government entities. And so, regardless of whether you agree with me or not on these issues, I hope that you'll become involved. And I think what I would advocate if I was in a position of political power, what I would advocate for is that folks that have been here, maybe it's something longer than 10 years, maybe it's 15 years, maybe it's 7 years, but at some point when a person has proven themselves to be a law-abiding, well, I guess except for breaking the immigration law, but a law-abiding, hardworking, productive member of society, I mean, surely we should consider making those people citizens and build the wall, stop all of this nonsensical, unsustainable, illogical, random immigration, and make some decisions around this, and let's go.